Welcome to Indie Depth, the show where we go in depth with independent filmmakers. I'm your host, Andrew Froning, and today on our show, we have producer, actor, Michael R. Ballington. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Michael is a producer and actor from New Jersey, and he's actually helped me, as well as other filmmakers in the area, produce some good stuff. Our award-winning stuff. Yeah, our web series, The Connection, which you can find on YouTube on the Fro Video page, won multiple awards, and a lot of that's not possible without Michael, because he found us locations, he found us people, he found us props, he found us connections, relationships that you really just can't make a film without relationships, right?
I think it's one of the most relationships, communications, and that whole networking philosophy. You can't get anything done without that in anything. But it's definitely paramount in filmmaking.
Definitely. And I know when I met you, we have kids the same age. They went to the same martial arts school, and we just started talking about Batman Beyond. Great show.
Awesomeness of Batman Beyond.
Waiting for the movie. Endlessly. Yeah, we instantly hit it off. I probably had been in a lapse of filmmaking at that part. So, we didn't immediately start to talk about filmmaking. But, not even knowing who a person is or what they're capable of, we started chatting. We had a good time, and then eventually it came to, we both like filmmaking.
Common threads.
Right. So how do you, for some of those people who are not as good at building those relationships to start, what's a tip? What's a good starting place?
Being genuine, especially when it comes to entertainment and filmmaking, everybody's got an angle they're trying to pitch. Very few people are genuine. Mm-hmm. And if you come off forcing it too much, it's going to be seen right through, and it's going to be dismissed. So anytime I approach anybody for anything, I come from a genuine spot. I don't try and force anything. If it's not there, if the door's not open, I'm not going to try and kick it open. It's really just talking to people on a common sense level, and try and find that common place, like we found with Batman Beyond and some of the other things that we shared, that common topics and interests on, and then you can let it organically grow from there.
Mm-hmm. So don't go in expecting, just meet
Never
somebody.
Expect anything except for
the unexpected,
death and taxes,
the Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah,
that's a good tip. That's a very good tip, because I feel like, especially when I was just starting out making film, like, this guy who maybe I saw, he's got a lot of friends on Facebook and he makes films, like, I got to talk to him and impress him. You feel like you have to impress somebody. It's a lot of times that...
never go with the goal of trying to impress anybody.
No, we're all people,
Exactly. But yeah, I think the big thing is in my experience of dealing with some of the people and some of the relatively larger names that I've interacted with, 9 times out of 10, if not even more than that, when they're approached by somebody, they know that there's an angle that person's going to be trying to kick. So with that in the back of my head, when I approach them, I'll try and start the conversation completely benign, and if the door happens to open for the conversation that I'm hoping to happen opens, then I'll go for it. If it doesn't, I'll keep with the mundane conversation and keep it personable, and hope that if I have the opportunity to speak to this person again, that they'll see that I'm coming from a little more of a genuine place, and I'm not trying to beg them for something. I'm not trying to get something in their ear or in their hands, and they might be a little more receptive in the future to either have a conversation with me again or listen to that pitch that I might have in the back of my head.
Right. And, I'm a big fan of the idea of matching energies.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, people just want to relax.
Yeah, you gotta find that common passion, because then you can get those real good in-depth conversations like that we've had,
like this one.
But yeah, you when you talk to somebody throwing out keywords, you can feel where that person is, where they are in time and space, and where their head is, and from there you can figure out, do I go for the pitch, or do I still try and develop this a little more before I go for the pitch?
Okay. Now you said keywords. Elaborate.
Key as in lock and key, or key as an energy key, whatever way you want to work it. I don't think I have a specific list of keywords. It just had, like I said, it's got to be organic. It's just a matter of having a conversation, just a human-to-human interaction with somebody, and from there, you'll feel where they are, and you'll kind of find the right words if they're there to be found.
Okay,
and
sure.
If you're struggling to find those things, you're struggling to find those links, you're forcing it.
Yeah.
That's just my personal take on that.
That makes a lot of sense. And, I know for, let's just talk about the connection. I needed a restaurant, right? And I was like, Mike, you got to find a restaurant. And you're like, well, there's a lot of restaurants around here. But you locked into one pretty quick, and I mean it was the perfect spot. It wasn't like you just asked the first person you saw. You actually listened to my pitch for what I was looking for, and you found a good spot. Like how many places did you go to, or how did you decide that this was the right one before you presented the option?
Honestly, I only went to one place.
Okay.
But that was developed. But let me preface that. That was developed after talking to you and understanding what you wanted to see. You wanted something that had motion in the background but wasn't overtly busy, so it's not like it was on a major highway. It was enough passing traffic to keep things going in the background. I also thought the location gave phenomenal natural light, which made it easier for us as a production team to light the area.
Definitely.
It also worked out that I felt I had a good chance of securing that location. But again, the genesis of that was talking to you to figure out what you wanted and what you were looking for in that particular scene and what that setting should have been like.
And I'm imagining your first conversation with the restaurant owner wasn't, I want to shoot here, right?
No.
How did that conversation build?
I happen to know this person for a long time. This is the person that owns the property. And I kind of did just say, hey, I'm working on a production. We're looking to see if we can get a restaurant scene taken care of. Any way I can use your place on an off-hour time. He's like, well, talk to the chef. He's the one that pretty much runs it. I have no problem with it. You can work well with him. It's good to go. I went and introduced myself to the chef. Told him, the owner told me to talk to him about it. And he was, as you know from our time there, he was phenomenal.
He was
very
great.
helpful. We didn't really interfere with the business too much. They were able to still have normal patrons and stuff come in, which I think having that ability to help us out and still have, his normal business not be too affected, I think that made it such a perfect place, a perfect time for it.
Sure, because we picked an off hour. We picked a time of day. Was it a Sunday?
I think it was a Saturday. We got there later Saturday morning, and we were out there by, I think, 5.
Right.
We really went there for the whole day.
Right. I guess we talked to them, and they were slow during the lunch run. They had a couple people, but we kind of picked a corner. We set ourselves aside from everything, so we really respected what they were doing. We bought food for everybody.
Well, that was, and it was that. It was a mutual thing. It wasn't like, hey, we're just going to come here and take over. We weren't. I don't feel we were invasive. We tried to help him out. He said he needed something. We jumped on it. He was very willing to work with us too. So yeah, I think it's that relationship of give and take, and not them giving us an inch and us taking a mile. It was fair give and take, and I think that's a crucial component to the relationship.